Roman Reigns built an empire that changed wrestling forever, and right now everything is crashing down in ways nobody expected. The biggest star in sports entertainment is facing something far more dangerous than any opponent he has ever stepped into the ring with, and if you have not seen what is happening behind the scenes, you are about to discover the truth that will shock you. Before we get into this story, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we are breaking down the most controversial situation in wrestling history, and you will not want to miss what comes next. The TKO group took control of WWE and UFC in 2023, and from that moment forward, everything changed for Roman Reigns. The company that once built its entire foundation around him is now treating their biggest asset like he is expendable. What started as whispers backstage has turned into a full-blown crisis that threatens to end one of the greatest championship runs in wrestling history. Roman spent over 1,000 days proving himself to the fans, fighting through incredible odds, and becoming the undisputed face of the company. Now the very organization that pushed him to superstardom is pulling him away from the spotlight when he should be shining brighter than ever. The problem started when TKO began making decisions that did not align with what made Roman Reigns the biggest draw in professional wrestling. His appearances became less frequent, his storylines became predictable, and most importantly, his character began to feel like an afterthought in a company that claims he is their franchise player. The booking became lazy and uninspired. Instead of building toward epic moments that would cement his legacy, TKO started treating his story like just another weekly episode. They forgot the fundamental rule of professional wrestling: never take your biggest star for granted, because the moment you do, the audience will stop caring. Roman Reigns is not just any wrestler. He is a third-generation superstar with the genetics, the physique, the charisma, and the in-ring ability to be one of the greatest of all time. His connection with the audience runs deeper than typical fan engagement. Even when fans booed him, they could not help but respect his abilities and his commitment to excellence. TKO recognized this value when they first took control, but somewhere along the way, management lost sight of what makes Roman special. They started booking him in matches that did not need to happen, putting him in feuds that nobody wanted to see, and most painfully, they began to ignore his injury concerns and push him beyond reasonable limits. The injury situation became the breaking point. Roman Reigns has been carrying the weight of an entire wrestling company on his shoulders, and instead of giving him proper time to recover and come back stronger, TKO kept the pressure on. They refused to build adequate time off into his schedule, refused to create angles that would give him meaningful rest, and refused to acknowledge that even the greatest warriors need recovery time. When he finally had to step away due to health issues, TKO did not handle his absence with the respect and reverence that should have been shown to the man who carried their company. During his time away, TKO made the critical mistake of creating new stars without establishing the proper narrative threads that would make Roman's eventual return meaningful. They brought back old storylines, recycled opponents, and made booking decisions that felt disconnected from the larger story of the company. When Roman finally returned, instead of positioning him as the returning king ready to reclaim his throne, they threw him into random matches and continued the same lazy booking patterns that had plagued his character for months. The financial implications are staggering. Roman Reigns is a merchandise machine, a pay-per-view draw, and a ratings generator. TKO claimed to be a company focused on maximizing profits and shareholder value, yet they consistently made decisions that diminished Roman's star power and reduced his drawing ability. His merchandise sales began to decline because fans were not seeing him on television regularly. His championship matches started to feel like obligations rather than must-see events. The company that should be doing everything in their power to keep Roman Reigns at the absolute peak of his career was instead allowing his momentum to stagnate and his relevance to fade. What makes this situation truly frustrating is that Roman Reigns demonstrated the maturity and professionalism to work through these challenges. He never complained publicly about his booking. He never refused to perform. He never tried to strong-arm management into giving him better creative direction. He simply showed up and did his job at the highest level possible. Yet TKO continued to treat him with indifference and neglect. They seemed to believe that Roman's star power was so established that they could coast on his reputation without actually investing in his present and future storylines. The locker room noticed what was happening. Other wrestlers saw how the company treated their biggest star and began to question whether their own positions were truly secure. If TKO could marginalize Roman Reigns, nobody was safe. The culture of the company shifted from "we are building something special" to "management does not understand what made us successful in the first place." This toxic environment created by poor decision-making from the top filtered down through every level of the organization and affected everyone. The question now becomes whether Roman Reigns can recover from the damage that has been done. His career is far from over, and his in-ring skills remain elite, but his star power has been diminished in ways that cannot be quickly repaired. TKO would need to completely overhaul their creative approach to Roman's character, rebuild his storylines with the same care and attention that originally made him a superstar, and most importantly, they would need to recognize that he is not just an employee filling a slot on the card but a generational talent who deserves to be treated accordingly. The fans deserve better. Roman Reigns deserves better. And TKO needs to understand that you cannot build a wrestling company by neglecting your biggest asset. If they continue down this path, they will lose not just Roman Reigns but the trust of everyone who believed in their vision. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss coverage of how this incredible story continues to unfold, because this situation is far from over.